YouTube, what the crap's going on? Welcome to the Pyramids of Rome 2, where we're going to be covering a battle replay that was sent to me. This is a 3v3 sent to me by Mr. Iggy X. I forgot to see who he was playing as. We'll see who played as everybody. So it looks like we got Chimeria, Galatia, Epirus. That's an interesting combination. Versus Armenia, Egypt, and Boii, which is also an interesting combination. Egypt's got like all these interesting support units. Boii is your hard-hitting infantry, and then Armenia is your cav, I'm assuming. And then on the other side too, Galatia's got the harder hitting infantry, Epirus has the support units, and Chimeria's got like missiles. So it's an interesting combination of factions, and we'll kind of see how they're played. It looks like all of them are deploying in their own lines, so they're not overlapped with each other trying to take on one function. And that makes sense because one player trying to stretch the entire length of a 3v3 battlefield is pretty difficult. So they're presenting, each team's presenting, you know, one line composed of the three players. Let's check out the different armies. For Epirus here in the center, let's just do a quick overview. A couple of Illyrian levies, mercenary Etruscans, mercenary Samnites. I see at least four Thessalian cav, 5 Thessalian cav, so that's a pretty significant investment. A couple of archers, and then towards the back we got a royal peltist. Hey, who's the viewer that loves these royal peltists? Here they are, buddy. It's been a long time since you got to see some royal peltist in my videos, so this is for you. I'm sure though that one unit isn't enough, but enjoy the royal peltist. He was always telling me that an army of all royal peltists was the way to go, and I appreciated his enthusiasm. So for Galatia, we're gonna have a bunch of levy freemen, Galatian legionaries, mercenary Cappadocian cav, Galatian noblemen. Pretty straightforward Galatian build here, which is lots of infantry power. There's a few Celtic slingers. Chimeria, as expected, got some steppe horse archers. Looks like there's about 4 of them. A noble infantry is an interesting pick, and then there's some noble infantry up front too. Looks like 4 of those, and then let's see, mix of Chimerian heavies and steppe archers. Steppe archers have good damage and range. They're just extremely vulnerable. So it looks like 3 Chimerian heavies. The Chimerian heavies have a spear that they fight with in melee, and they have pretty good armor. They're probably the best archer unit in the game. Pound for pound. They're really a fantastic archer unit, just very expensive. Over here on the side of Egypt, looks like we got several Tarentine cav pushing up now. Several Egyptian slingers, a line of Galatian swordsmen, Galatian royal guard, 3 of those, wow. And then we're going to have some Levy Thurio spears. That's a great support unit that Egypt can field. A javelin man, a carrion axeman, and an elephant. We're going to have 3 Levy freemen up front. Some of them could be hidden here for the Boii. I'm assuming 3 Celtic slingers, probably another heavy horse right here. And then looks like we got some sword followers, probably 6 of those in total. An Oathsworn, and probably 4 heavy horse in total. And then it looks like with Persian cavalry. This is a great, very heavy shot cavalry for the price. 3 of those, and then it looks like a royal cataphract. Got an eastern spear, several eastern slingers, and a bunch of Cartley axemen. And maybe mixed with a little bit of axemen, a couple horse archers. So that's the overall battlefield. We'll see how it plays out. Looks like these steppe horse archers ought to have a pretty easy time pushing back some of the Tarentine cav. But at the same time, the Tarentine cav is definitely a target that Chimeria is going to want to get rid of, but it kind of stinks to have to use ammo on them. And then they're pushing a Levy Thurios out here too, which totally makes sense because these guys have javelins. One mistake, you get to do a lot of damage to one of these. Plus, I mean, a Levy Thurios spear is cheap, covering them with the slingers. Now, the only problem with this is that the Egyptian is going to be heavily outskirmished if they push forward. So I would almost like to see the Chimerian push the Egyptian, but in some ways the Chimerian's not going to want to push that engagement because these Galatian Royal Guard are going to be a very tough nut to crack there. Looks like Epirus has scooted forward their line of Samnites. I want to see these. The Samnite warriors in this game look so freaking awesome, and so do the Etruscan hoplites for that matter. The Etruscan units, the Samnites, they looked awesome. Here these guys were here. Yeah, looking very cool. Epirus had some very cool looking units, and I kind of like the color palette that these guys got. They were kind of an underdog faction, but definitely cool. Chimeria was an interesting faction too. Like, not a huge roster, but some interesting units in their roster. So let's see what happens as this pushes together. Should be a pretty epic throwdown here. The Illyrian levies, some cavalry pushing up. The Thessalian cavalry is a nice, cheap, heavy shot cavalry. So for the price, these guys were very good cavalry. This is always what I'd kind of hoped that Carthaginian noble cavalry could be, but of course it is not, and it never was. cost a lot more and was a lot crappier. So, looks like the Epirote players wanting to push here on the Cartly Axemen, which is pretty gutsy. This Thessalian cavalry is going to eat a hail of javelins, because everything in this game has javelins, you better believe it. So the Cartly Axemen here are going to get flogged initially, but this is going to be some significant damage done to the Thessalian cavalry who are getting counter-punched by Persian Cav. Thessalian cavalry charging again here. Not going to do a ton of damage with just a frontal hit like that. I say that was Hillman, so of course there was a ton of damage done. But yeah, the Cartly Axemen not so much, and the Thessalians are gonna suffer pretty mightily. But they did manage to catch all these Eastern slingers here, which, man, talk about a pretty big benefit. These Persian cavalry are kind of slowed down. They're not going to do great, so this may not have been all bad here for the Epirote player. We'll just have to see how this plays out. I'm not necessarily good enough at this game to tell you exactly how it's going to turn out. Thessalians here are going to get rocked by Royal Cataphracts. They don't want to be anywhere near that engagement, especially when there's Persian cavalry and Eastern spearmen nearby. These mercenary Samnite warriors are also going to get pummeled pretty significantly. So let's see if these Royal Peltists can start throwing javelins. Yeah, they're hitting these Persian cavalry, so that's going to be a nice use of the javelins. Illyrian levies being used to push back some of the bow cavalry, not a bad plan. Let's just see how this plays out. I mean, it looks like the Epirote player is fighting a bit of an uphill battle there against the Cartly Axemen. We've got meat shields on meat shields here. Levy Freeman on Levy Freeman. A little bit of heavy horse support coming in from behind here. More Levy Freeman being poured in, and Galatian swords potentially coming forward. So it looks like a bit of a get rid of the meat shield phase here between the two barbarian slugs. Slugfest, slugs, whatever. They're slugs too, I guess. I meant to say in this barbarian slugfest, but okay, they're slugs. That works for me. Citizen cavalry. Oh, it's so terrible. But Chimeria doesn't have a lot of options when it comes to melee cav. Steppe Lancers are extremely fragile. So that's one of the Chimeria's big weaknesses. Great missiles. No real stable cavalry in terms of melee. So let's see how the skirmish is going. I would assume this should be a pretty favorable skirmish for the Chimerian. Egyptian slingers are in range, and they ought to take some pretty substantial damage. We've got cavalry feints coming in. Galatian swordsmen would get pummeled pretty heavily, but there's some Levy Thurio spears ready to toss their javelins here. Ooh, they did not get a javelin toss, and they got charged, so they're going to get creamed. This front line of Egypt's going to take some significant damage. Let's see how the Epirote on Armenian fight is going here. So, looks like it is pretty tight fight still. Pretty tight indeed. These Cartly Axemen are in a whatever the heck this is, a shield wall. So they're going to be pretty defensive. But the Epirote player, wow, this ball of skirmishers just firing over here. These Royal Peltists are in trouble. Yeah, so this fight is, I don't know. I can't call this one yet. But I think the Cartly Axemen are going to take this one home. But nasty charge here from the Thessalians, going to get into all these Eastern slingers. More Thessalians pushing forward, while the Armenian cavalry is distracted over here. Now, the Royal Peltists are going to eat it hard here. They are really not good against very heavy cavalry. But at the same time, the Thessalians are going to clean up a lot of skirmishers. Yeah, one of them is going to go into these slingers, so great choice. And then Thessalians to come over here and try and push the units off their general, which should take some damage trying to retreat. And the longer the Royal Peltists can stay in this fight after the charge, they'll do pretty good. So this looks like it's going pretty well for the Epirote player. Now the Barbarian Clash in the center here is underway. We got some Galatian Royal Guard engaged against some Chimerian nobles, and lots of units being thrown in here from both sides. Sword followers up against Galatian swords being backed up by Galatian legionaries. Galatian legionaries are great units. They won't be a match for an Oathsworn, but they ought to be a match for a sword follower, I would think. And then in the Egypt on Chimeria fight, Chimeria is melting on an infantry standpoint, as one would expect. Chimeria is not meant for an infantry brawl. Tarentine cavalry being thrown into the Chimerian heavies, they're going to deal with them pretty easily. But the Levy Thurios get some tosses from back here, and that's going to be nice for them. Chimeria just needs to focus on keeping their skirmishers and their cavalry alive. If they can do that, they will be a huge nuisance later in the game. And the Chimerian heavy archers can be useful in melee in the late game. Here comes the Galatian nobleman. getting a nice charge on the sword followers. Legionaries engaged. Oathsworn now being committed to the battle. There's some being committed over here too. I mean, the Epirote player is not finished with the Armenian, but they've done a good job, I think. Royal Cataphracts are finally starting to drop. Somehow the Royal Peltist General has managed to survive all this, which is impressive to say the least. These Horse Archers, though, are going to be dangerous. The Infantry, the Cartley Axemen, they've definitely done well here, and I would have kind of expected that. Thessalian Cavalry hitting a heavy horse here, keeping it from getting into these archers. Let's just kind of see. So Camarilla looks like it's maintained a significant piece of its skirmishing corps. And let's see how Egypt is doing. Their Galatian, the Royal Guard here is slowly destroying the Camarian nobles. Where's more of the Galatian Royal Guard? There's another one right here. And then there's... I thought there was 3 in total. One may have gotten killed. Maybe there's only 2. We'll see in the results. Yeah, the Camarian is defending his skirmishers. Like I said, all these expensive archers need to stay alive. Epirus looks like they are wavering over here against all these Cartley Axemen who are bunched up. And then the Royal Cataphract General and 1 Persian cavalry came back. So it looks like that by the skin of their teeth, Armenia is going to come back the victor of the situation. Very, very close fight there. And in the fight between Galatia, check out the elephants they got in here from Egypt. They're running amok all over the middle of this barbarian brawl here. See lots of missiles flying into, so the elephants probably won't last terribly long, and they should be causing damage to both players at this point because they're running amok. They've only got 38 kills. But yeah, they're going to damage anything they run into at this point, including the sword follower, who's going to take some pretty significant damage from the elephants, but the elephants are berserking right into this Galatian legionary. Fortunately, these Camarians back here should quickly deal with the elephants. Camaria is like a nightmare for elephants. Oathsworn is taking slow but steady damage from these Galatian legionaries, but here comes another Oathsworn coming in from behind. So that's going to be painful. These archers are at very high risk right now because this Royal Cataphract's going to catch them eventually, and there's a horse archer here too. Looks like Egypt is very much alive, but Camarilla is still skirmishing and still has cavalry. Some noble horse and Galatian legionaries left here. This is going to be a tight fight still. It's going to be very, very close. Infantry looks like it's going to swing to the Armenian... Hang on, let's see if we can say this right. The Egypto-Boei... The Egypto-Boei Armenians? I don't know, you make up your own. See if you can figure that out. 43 kills in the Carian Axemen is pretty nice, actually. This Royal Guard has 190 kills. Yeah, the infantry of Camarilla just can't stand up to this. Let's see if these... Are these horse archers out of ammo? No, they've still got ammo. They're in a big ball flying around here, doing a lot of damage. And it looks like the skirmisher is now under threat from the citizen cavalry. There's no cavalry here for Egypt to counter this. So this is going to be pretty brutal. Do the Carian Axemen have javelins remaining? They carry quite a few. Some coming from the Galatians. There's a couple of Egyptian javelin men tossing there, but the citizen cavalry here is going to make itself very useful in getting rid of these Egyptian skirmishers. So very nice job by the citizen cav if it can last long enough to finish this, and it looks like it will. So that was a pretty important kill there. Some Celtic slingers left here, and the slingers over here just running for their lives away from these horse archers. Nice job drawing these units way out here, though. Let's see how this is going to finish. It's looking to be a pretty close finish. Citizen cavalry there, 144 kills, pretty respectable. It's possible these Egyptian javelin will come back. We'll see whether or not they have any ammo. These Egyptian slingers are still alive. These Camarian horse archers are still firing. Good time to get up here while these slingers are balled up and not ready to engage. Some Celtic slingers here and Egyptian slingers here, which are going to be a pretty tough counter here. Some Galatian cavalry died trying to get to some of these skirmishers there. And then there's a royal guardsman back here who's been caught by the Camarian noble infantry and killed because it was very, very depleted. So ammo is going to play a big role here. These Camarian heavies, remember these guys are going to be decent in a melee, and this one is 83 strong still. So they're not going to be great, they're going to be decent. if there's enough ammo to get the damage done against the infantry here, then all of the momentum from the cavalry, or the impact damage from the cavalry charges, and then this one stable Cimmerian noble infantry here might be able to get the job done. The horse archers are taking a little damage, doing what they do over here. And then we've got a horse archer out here that's still alive. That royal cataphract that was depleted has left the battlefield at this point. Yeah, definitely going to want to get these royal guard off the field. The Carian axemen definitely would like to get rid of the Egyptian general, but the guard is the more dangerous unit. These sword followers are going to be very dangerous. 65 Oathsworn, you better believe that's going to be dangerous. Yeah, there's a significant number of sword followers left. So it's all going to come down to how much ammo we're talking about here, and I'm assuming that most of the archers are probably out of ammo. This steppe archer is not, actually. The Cimmerian heavies are. It's kind of expected. They have a faster refire rate. This unit of sword followers is going to be picked apart and routed. So we'll see what happens. We got a javelinman, slinger. So several slinger units left. Let's see if these horse archers have ammo. They appear to. Let's see what happens. The Cimmerians and the one Galatian unit fleeing away. Obviously not wanting to take this engagement too early, and I can't say I blame them. Let's watch the skirmishing that takes place. The sword followers taking a bit of a beating. Here comes the horse archers. The Armenian having to feint back. Getting pushed up against the red line at this point, so a nice push by the team with the red banners there. Or the red outlined banners. But they are taking damage from these horse archers who still have quite a lot of ammo. And obviously the Cimmerian is not wanting to fight until it's absolutely necessary here. More sword followers dropping. Cartley Axeman over here going to be at risk of getting pretty badly pummeled potentially by these horse archers. I mean, pretty soon here the engagement's going to have to take place, and the key players are going to be this Oathsworn and this Galatian Royal Guard. The rest of the units here, not the best leadership. I mean, it's not bad, though. Sword followers have pretty good leadership for a mid-tier sword infantry. But again, there could be possible rear charges from the horse archers, which would be devastating to morale. We're going to see whether or not the Cimmerians skirmishing back this way, some of the units being led off this way. The Galatians, or the Celtic slingers, were caught, but then the Cartley Axemen paid the price here. There is still some fire coming from the Armenian horse archers. This Cimmerian noble infantry is going to be a key defender here late in the game. And the sword followers are about to catch it, and this is unfortunate for the Cimmerian. They're almost going to want to turn around and fight with these, maybe meet shield with the steppe archers, and then get the Cimmerian. Well, no, they're going to try and run this way. I don't think they can get away from this, though. The Cimmerian nobles holding their ground easily against the Cartley Axemen, but here comes more barbarian swords. The Cimmerian heavies just trying desperately to get away from this fight. The Oathsworn general is going to be eating some pretty direct archer fire here from the horse archers. The Cimmerian nobles doing a good job of holding so far. They've pushed back the axemen, or not the axemen, yeah, the Carian axemen. Lots of units coming in here, but then lots of bow fire hitting these Oathsworn in the back. So this is pretty rough. But there's slinger fire incoming here, but the slinger is about to be taken down by a horse archer charge. So bad news for the Boei player who must have, yeah, they just lost their general. Wow. So the infantry engagement looked fairly favorable. This Galatian Royal Guard, though, is still pretty healthy at 55, but if there's enough ammo left for the Cimmerian, this might be over. You can see those steppe archers, the heavy archers here, holding out very well. In melee, they get out their two-handed spear, and they fight pretty decent as a melee combatant. They're not going to win against Royal Guard, but they're going to put up a respectable performance. The Oathsworn unit should give way at any moment, and the Cimmerian noble infantry probably can match this guardsman because of the support units that are around. So this is going to be quite close, but I'm pretty sure the Cimmerian players' patient use of the skirmishers here and not getting these guys killed early is going to make him the MVP here. The noble infantry took a nasty charge from the Royal Guard, but the Royal Guard are going to be dropping pretty quick by this point in the battle. They are tired. They're getting shot in the back by missile fire. And their general is probably about to die. I can't imagine a carry an axe general lasting a whole lot longer in this fight, and they didn't. The nice use of headhunt here at the last second to try and keep this thing in the fight. It's 23 men, and that headhunt is... it's in effect now. It's not going to rout. So a valiant last stand for the Galatian Royal Guard, but they will rout as soon as that headhunt wears off, which will be soon. The Cartley Axemen are in, or not, the Carrion Axemen are in here as well. Horse archers trying desperately to help get rid of the Galatian Royal Guard. The Carrion Axemen realize that they're just peasants. They're going to flee. That was a really good replay. Cool map, too. So hope you all enjoyed this one. Let's see. Mr. Iggy X was the Cimmerian, so nicely played, Iggy X. Got some good kills out of these horse archers. Very nice use of the Cimmerian Noble Infantry here. Again, holding that until as late in the game as possible. The heavy archers here doing pretty well with all of them. Let's just take a look at some of these other ones. So the Galatian player, nice use of this Cappadocian cavalry. 229 kills, got a hold of something. Noble Horse did okay. Let's take a look at... I enjoyed this fight between Armenia and Epirus. I thought that was a pretty cool fight, honestly. That was a pretty interesting matchup, and it was like basically they killed each other. The Armenian did kind of win that head-to-head, but it was pretty close. Let's take a look at the Egyptian player. Only 69 kills on the elephants, which is unfortunate for him. The Royal Guard, I mean, 2 chevrons here, 3 chevrons in this one. These guys did some work. Whatever the kills say, they did some work. And then we got the Boii here. If we take a look here, again, the Oathsworn picking up some chevrons. Sword followers are brutal, and you can see that in their numbers here. It's just that they got ground down by the Cimmerian in the end. So appreciate Mr. Iggy X and all the other players who played in this. It was fun. Hope y'all enjoyed some Rome 2 action here. And I will see you back soon with some more Rome 2 action. Not daily, of course, but I'll be bringing this out probably a couple times a week because I know there's a bunch of you out there who enjoy this historical setting, and I do too. So enjoy making these videos for you every day. Appreciate you coming to view it. Appreciate MSI for sponsoring the build that I filmed this with. If you're interested in subscribing, there's a logo in the bottom right-hand corner. If not, or if so, I will see you next time, one way or the other. HeirofCarthage, signing out.